mess we're about to get into right now.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host Jay. I'm here with Terrence.
What's up?
Micah.
Hey.
And Rob.
Hey.
Okay, so we're back. This is episode 87, White Man's Burden. This is the 1995 HBO film where they decided what would it be like if white people were in the position of black people.
Did they though?
And black people were in the position of white people in America.
And let's let an Asian guy direct it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, because so it is an Asian guy's perspective on
Race relations between black people and white people.
I didn't know Lee Daniels was Asian.
You know what?
Lee?
Really? Yeah. So before we get into this episode, you can tell that we really loved it. We do have some 5-star reviews, so I apologize we forgot to read them for the last couple of weeks. So the first one is from White Walker Soy, who says the title is "Get Subscribed Now." Quote: "It's hard to find a podcast with a group that has such a great rapport with each other." While also offering so much insight and hilarious deconstruction of films they review. Go premium, stay subscribed, and check out the rest of their podcast. You won't be disappointed. So, yes, you can also sign up for our premium content, which is $5 a month or $50 for the full year. You can sign up at blackonblackcinema.com/premium. That will get you not only this show, but a number of other shows in our network. So the next one is from Movie Sal. The title is "Very Funny with a Purpose." Quote: "These guys know their films and they're hilarious. My favorite episodes are the ones where they savage a Tyler Perry movie or other equally bad films." Well,
get ready.
Yeah, exactly. Their anger and disgust is hilarious and keeps me coming back. The more serious and more important reviews are great too. I learn a lot and I always walk away with a new perspective. I would say that sometimes I think Tear Bear needs a hug. But I'm
Never forget.
But I'm afraid he'd murder me in my sleep. Keep up. That is quite correct.
Who is that?
I'll send you where you know. Keep up the good work. Always. Also, there's always more Tyler Perry movies to review. There's a Halloween one coming out. Hint, hint. Yeah, we know.
Only certain people can call me Tear Bear.
And it's that guy right there. The next one is from Linda. The next one is from Linda55. Title is "Wow, Funny and Intelligent." I heard about the podcast on Facebook from one of my friends who knows I love movies. The first one I heard was a podcast where they reviewed The Mac. I had to go back and find the movie and try to watch it again. I'm still having an issue watching that crazy mess. The clothes, oh my God, you had me laughing out loud while walking my dog, and I know people thought I was crazy, which I am, and proud of it. But watching the movie and looking to see if, quote, pimps have a 401k retirement plan, where is the pimp picnic and the players ball was hilarious, and I have to go and get prior podcasts I missed. And last but certainly not least is from Be Kind Rewind. The title, which I love this, the title is "My Barbershop in the Cloud." This is easily the best podcast out there. For those of you who don't know, this is what conversations sound like in barbershops in the black community all over the United States. Witty, insightful, opinionated, smart, honest, funny, and original. Please, please, please review Which Way Is Up or Bustin' Loose. So thank you for those 5-star reviews. And again, make sure you also listen to our preview episodes if you sign up for, if you subscribe to our show on iTunes or another podcatcher. We do preview episodes on the weeks that we don't release full episodes. Okay? All right. So, Micah.
Well,
actually, yeah, we'll start with Rob and we'll go around our thoughts on White Man's Burden, starring John Travolta and Harry Belafonte. I forgot to mention.
well, we're not going to start with that just
yes.
yet.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have good news and I have bad news. They are both the exact same news depending on how you feel about light-skinned humor and some random dude interrupting everybody all the damn time. I will be, well, by the time you see this, I'll be married because I'm getting married tomorrow from the actual time now. I don't know when you're watching this. And then a month after that, I'll be moving to California. So I will not be here for any further video reviews. There's a chance I might be able to make the next one, but I don't know what kind of craziness is going to be going on during my moving period. So I'm just going to make this one count. You'll still hear me for audio reviews because you can do audio easily from across the country, but it's going to be kind of weird to set up a Skype screen back here to have me interacting with everybody.
The floating head of God, that doesn't quite. Yeah.
So, we're just getting back into doing video reviews, and just like that, I'm out. So you got to deal with these darknesses sucking up all the sunlight.
I mean, as it should be.
As it should be?
That's right.
Like, should I agree with that?
But look, I will say this. Your voice and your opinions will be deeply missed. And of course, whenever you're back in town and we have recording session, of course,
Oh yeah, this isn't the last time I'll show up. Like, hell no, you guys don't get off that easy. I might get off that easy. But
Rephrase that.
Yeah. What?
Wait, what's happening here? We've gone to a dark.
that's why we have tablecloths,
Yeah,
sir.
exactly. That's.
But yeah, this podcast has been a gigantic part of my life for however long we've been doing it. I don't fucking know anymore.
87 episodes.
How many years is that?
Like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Really?
It's been 3 years, I think.
It's been more than 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn.
right.
It's nice knowing you.
Yeah.
Come see me on Facebook. I'll still be fighting people randomly. So.
Yeah, go join our fan group, by the way. Facebook, or the Nerd Podcast, blackonblackcinema.com/fans.
But yeah, it's been great, and keep supporting this whole shebang. I'm still going to be supporting it. I'm still going to be helping out behind the scenes. I'll still be doing movie reviews from California. Holy crap, if I can get some on-the-ground nonsense of seeing actual famous people, I doubt it. But hey, I'll be close to San Francisco, so maybe I'll find some famous gay people. But
There you go.
I am going to miss it.
Yeah.
I've loved it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, TMP, I'm not going to get a tattoo or anything, but I'd wear a t-shirt.
All right. Don't worry. We're TMP Studios is working on that.
Awesome.
All right. Well,
Now,
it sends you out with a bang.
Yeah, you picked this movie.
I didn't pick this movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
I'll
did?
pick the movie.
No, he brought the movie up.
I brought the movie up, and you're like, "Oh my god, we have to do it." And I was like, "I found it."
And then when I looked at it, I was like, oh shit, I have watched this movie before. But I don't recall what my thoughts were at the time. I know what my thoughts are now.
Well, you know what? You start, because actually, let's get into it right now.
Man, Lee Daniels is responsible for this movie somehow because there is no subtlety. It is so, it's so hits you over the head with the message that it completely misses the message. It's like, here's what white people are like, and here's what black people are like, to such extremes that it's not even a race thing anymore. It's just a poor person and a rich person. It doesn't mean shit. They try to throw things in there, and there's a couple of points that I kind of liked that had a little bit of a message that wasn't so in your face about it. Like when the kid was buying a toy and the father was like, no, get the other one. You like the other one. He's like, no, I want to get this one. And that was, I kind of like that scene a little bit.
Right.
Crap, there was another one that I appreciated. It was real low key though. And they didn't really, the cops, of course, jumping on them like crazy people. But even that was a little freaking heavy handed.
Right.
But aside from the heavy handedness, all the acting is terrible.
That is absolutely correct.
Like, there is no good acting in this film.
no one.
And John Travolta,
What did I say this morning?
his
I won't talk about it.
his black man, his black scent is so fucking.
I'm not sure anyone has done a better black scent, and by better, I mean the absolute worst, since Iggy Azalea.
And it was up and down. He would have it, and then he wouldn't. He would sound like Travolta. Then he would sound like Travolta if he didn't make it, and it was just so ridiculous. I cannot deal with
can't wait to get
this
this movie.
ridiculous
This
freaking
is
Band-Aid thing on
unbelievable.
my finger that's waving around my face. But yeah, this movie's horrible.
So what's your score?
Nothing. It doesn't get a score. It's
I don't think 0 out of 5 is unreasonable.
It's 0 out of 5 because it's terrible. It tries to do something and fails miserably at it. I don't think the people that need to watch this kind of a message are going to get anything from it besides just a laugh, and 0 out of 5, but watch it because it's fucking funny for all the wrong reasons.
I think that's totally fair. Micah, your thoughts?
My eyes almost fell out of my head because I was rolling them so hard. Like this is not good, man. This is not good at all. It's funny. It's very, very funny.
Oh, this is one of the best comedies we've done.
Yeah, it's very funny to see the races swapped, right?
Yes.
And we'll get into some of the examples of just traditional things that maybe white people might not realize are a big deal.
Yeah.
But it is. And but then like the first half hour of this movie sets up a very, very interesting premise, albeit with terrible writing and piss poor acting, right? But then it gets ridiculous. And it boils down to what every movie is. It's a white guy doing whatever he wants to get his way. And at the end, he didn't earn that shit, man. He didn't earn what happened at the end. So this movie boils down to what every other movie is. The white guy's the hero, and the black guy's vilified, if he's even in the movie, right? Like in this case they are. And like, nah, man, like get out of here, man. Get out of here.
Do you have a score?
Get out of here. Out of 5. This movie's terrible, man.
Okay, so I agree with you. The first 30 minutes of the movie is not terrible. Like,
Right.
The writing, the acting, the production level, lighting, sound quality. Like, name it in a movie. That's all bad.
This is before HBO made it.
Yeah, like it really is. It's kind of before HBO made it. And so, and keep in mind, this is 1995. So all of those things are true, but the premise worked.
Right.
Like the premise worked. It was like, okay, like black people are in power, obviously, and white people are considered on the lower end of the totem pole. And which I kind of wanted, and maybe this is my own bias, I kind of wanted them to say, and they never said it, why is it that white people are on the bottom of the totem pole? I kind of wanted them to say that Africans went and took over Europe and enslaved white people. Like, just say it. Just say it. Like, give the full history of it.
That would have been hilarious.
I think you should have.
Because it was clear that there was still African culture. It wasn't just
and actually
it wasn't
that
just a hue swap.
Right, and that I thought was actually pretty well done. I was like, oh, okay, like the culture, not just black people were in charge, like the culture was the dominant culture, which was kind of fascinating. And again, this is the first 30 minutes, and I'm like, okay, like I know this movie's supposed to be bad, but like I'm all right, I'm kind of feeling it. And then it's like, oh wait, okay, all right, well I'm out now. So it went in a great direction, and then once it got to the actual meat of the story, it just completely evaporated, and the bottom fell out of the movie, and there was no depth to John Travolta's black accent. Like, there was no depth to how bad it could truly be. And like every time he did it, I was like, that's really bad. And then he did it again, I was like, that was worse. That was literally worse than the last time. And then he did it again, I was like, that was worse than the last 2 times. And then it just kept going and then leaving and then coming back. And it was like John Travolta, then black John Travolta, and then like blacker John Travolta, and then it's like, you're just making fun of black people now. And it was just like I don't really get it. And then Harry Belafonte's character, like you said, he was a supervillain. I was like, where is your
But
cloak?
he was, but
And then at the end, and then at the end, again, like you said, nothing is earned.
That ending is not earned. He is like a supervillain, but he's completely inept and doesn't all right. It's supposed to be a role reversal of the races and the cultures, but like 1, black people don't act like John Travolta, and 2, white people don't act like Harry Belafonte.
Thank you.
Like
they're
don't.
Extremes. They're extremes.
They were so extreme they completely missed the point.
Yeah, here's the point. Let's go. No, we're almost there. Oh, look, we're right there.
Just
Completely
keep
going,
overshot
and then
it.
just overshoot it. Yeah, it's kind of odd. So for me, the first 30 minutes gets a 2.5 out of 5. The rest of the movie is a 0.1 out of 5. Like, it is so bad. And again, the representation of who black people are in this movie, this might be one of the most offensive, because it's not just showing black people in stereotypical roles and you're like, well, that's not actually, we're more than just that. Like, we're not just a thug, we're not just, X, Y, and Z. This is them literally playing a black person. It's like, you know what I mean, man? And I'm just like,
and that made no sense
what the
because
fuck is happening?
he's playing a black person and all the other white people are not.
Yes.
No one else is doing that.
Right, I
Like,
agree.
The gangs are still skinheads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what's even worse about this movie? They try to do the role reversal. There's still more white people in this movie than black people.
That's true. There is.
Fuck this movie.
That's
So-
really funny.
so really-
I honestly didn't notice that. That's actually really horrible.
Do you still give it the 0.1?
No, I give it the 0.1 because I feel like giving it a 0, giving it a 0.1 is more insulting than a 0. It's like,
Leaving
it's
a
like
2-cent tip.
Right, it's a 2-cent tip versus not giving a tip. It's like, here's a tip. It's go fuck yourself, right? Instead of going, well, there's no tip and there's nothing, oh, you're just mad. But like a 2-cent tip, you're like, damn, you like really dug through your purse to find 2 pennies? Like, go fuck yourself. Like, you could have just walked up and left. So, yeah, no, this is a 2-cent tip, right? Like, this is
Make a better movie. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, right.
Go fuck
You
yourself.
found a pen, you wrote it out, it's legible, right? Like, so that's why I go with the 0.1. So, what are your thoughts?
I watched this at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Did it make it better?
No. This shit was offensive. Like, it was just flat out offensive.
Yeah.
Like, his portrayal of what a black person should be, or what a black person is, of course, with his black accent. It was disgusting, dude. Like, I'm like, why? First of all, why? Second of all, like, they kind of want to know what the hell happened. What is this, some alternate universe? The black people, they just had money.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Like, they were still black.
Right.
They weren't white. They just had money. And so it wasn't necessarily a role reversal. Like, I guess it was financially, it was a role reversal.
But I think that's a good point, right? Because, and sorry to step over, but like the control or the majority in America is white. The culture is dominated by white culture, European culture, stuff like
Right.
that. It's not just because they have money. Like
Right.
you're legitimately missing the point from the jump, right? So the premise is actually fucked up too. So actually, I'm gonna dock the 2.5 in the first 30 minutes.
Like 0.001.
Yes, because you missed the premise of why racism exists.
Yeah.
It is a fundamental based on things way before the fact that white people had more money.
Right.
That's not the reason. So if you had shown, and I don't know why they did, maybe they were just like, it feels uncomfortable. But like, if you had shown that black people had white slaves and all of that was exactly the same, then you build on the point that the reason why they're in control is because of this, not because, oh, we have more cash. Because that implies that if white people had more money, then they would be equal to the black people in their alternate universe or our universe, which
Right.
that's not the reason. Like, me having the same amount of money as a white person doesn't make us equal in society. It doesn't.
Right.
It
And
just doesn't.
the beginning of the movie did do a better job where it showed black people in power positions.
Right.
But once it got to that hook, that fell off, and all you saw was Harry Belafonte being an obnoxious rich guy,
Right,
and
right.
his obnoxiously rich family that acted so stereotypically rich. You would be hard pressed to actually find people like that.
Yes, because you forget it becomes not about his race anymore.
Yeah,
It
not at all.
becomes about him being wealthy. And it's
Right.
like, oh yeah, rich people look down on poor people. Yeah, but we all know that story. Like, that's not interesting.
That's not race.
That's not a race thing. That's just like, you're just a prick.
Yeah, and like he's riding through a poor neighborhood full of white people, and I'm just like, it's just a poor neighborhood in like where there's a lot of white people.
Look,
Right.
I have a nice car.
That's
If I
dumb.
drive, thank you. If I drive through a poor white neighborhood, I have a nice car. Am I the Harry Belafonte character? I mean, maybe, but like, probably not.
It was like, honestly, it was kind of like they were just.
I mean, their wine and cheese party did look.
they were just driving through Dundalk.
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, it kind of worked.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, we jumped over you.
With that, like, you're right. The acting wasn't anything to write home about. Like, the direction was serviceable, I guess.
I think this was this guy's like second movie.
Oh, what was his first one? Was it like Asian Man's Burden? Like, I like to think he did. Is there a trilogy of movies of just race swapping?
Just burden movies.
The Burden
trilogy.
Like, you know, like straight male's burden, right?
Straight
Like,
white male burden.
yeah. Like,
God, there's all this fucking opportunity. I'm weighed down by it.
I can do so much. No one judges me.
Yeah, this movie's trash, dude. Like, it's fucking garbage, man. I don't even know what to give it. I haven't slept in 24 hours. But, no, a no out of 5.
This is a
like,
no.
don't even watch it just for.
Watch the first 30 minutes.
Watch the first 30 minutes and then watch the next, like, 10 to 15 minutes to see just how far off the rails that shit goes. And then you're just like, you know what? I've seen enough. You don't even, or just skip to the end to see what happens.
Honestly,
Actually, don't even do that. Fuck this. No out of 5.
We're going to tell you the ending.
Yeah, look, we're gonna spoil it for you from 1995.
It's interesting, to say the least.
And look, I gotta tell you though, as I'm watching, I'm like, oh, we're gonna have a great time. That's all I can think of is like, I do my countdown. I'm like, how many minutes are left? 10 minutes of credits. We're only down to 15 more minutes. It's not so bad. And I'm just like,
it was a tight 125 too.
It was.
It was a real short movie.
And it felt like 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Oh my God.
Come on with all of this bullshit. Who cares anymore? I don't care anymore.
It got to a certain point where I'm just, can you just please die already? Like,
Both of you.
Hey,
I could care
both are
less.
terrible people.
Yeah.
So do you guys think that Harry Belafonte read the script before he fucking signed on for this?
I feel like he read it and then he didn't realize John Travolta was gonna be in the movie, and then he was kind of like,
Oh.
"What's that accent you're doing?" And they're like, "It's too late. You've already signed a contract." And he's like, "God damn it."
So the production company A Band Apart produced it. Are you aware of that production company?
I've heard of them. They've done a lot of stuff, haven't they?
That sounds very familiar.
It should sound very familiar. Quentin Tarantino, that's his company. And John Travolta and Kelly Lynch, the actress who plays his wife, did it at the behest of Quentin Tarantino.
No.
So this was after Pulp Fiction.
When did Pulp Fiction? This came out in 95.
94 Pulp Fiction came out.
Pulp Fiction
Who
came
wrote
out in 94.
this?
So yeah.
Who wrote this?
The director, I believe, wrote it.
So
Desmond.
Quentin Tarantino gave them a premise. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. And Quentin Tarantino gave them a premise, and this is what they did.
Now, in fairness, I think if Tarantino would have done this, one, it would have been way more shooting.
All right.
Look, I would have seen it.
John Travolta, every third word from John Travolta's mouth would have been nigga.
It would have been cracker.
What's up, nigga? Like,
Yeah.
all right, man. All right.
So, yeah, that's not. That's
And
not good.
apart.
But doesn't some of that kind of make sense a little bit?
I guess a little
John
bit.
Travolta
That he produced
is
it,
attached to it.
and that not necessarily that John Travolta is attached to it. Although
No, you
that
mean-
kind of
What?
Yeah,
Like
Pulp
the
Fiction.
accent makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Absolutely, it makes sense now. Because that's fucking what Travolta does. I mean, not Travolta. What Tarantino does when he does interviews.
Yeah, when he's talking to a black person.
Like, nigga, no, dude. You
Don't do that.
don't
Right.
Just stop it.
I get
Like,
so
it-
conflicted because I like his movies so much.
Look, I loved Hateful Eight. I loved seeing Samuel L. Jackson be an absolute son of a bitch in that movie. If you haven't seen that movie, you should.
Amazing.
And I'm a Tarantino, as a filmmaker, I'm a Tarantino fan. But there are moments with him and I'm like, I need you to please shut up.
Right.
Because I'm tired of having to justify
you're a
your
fan.
nonsense.
You're a fan, but not an apologist.
Right. No, I'm not going to be like, well, what he said was...
Right. Get out of here.
But look, if it's like, new movie by Quentin Tarantino, I'm going to see
I'm gonna go see it.
I'm going to see it.
I'm not an
Because he's
apologist.
an amazing talent.
I'm not an apologist. I'm just hoping that one specific scenario happened because I don't feel like dealing with this anymore.
Right.
Like, I love your work, man. Stop.
Yeah, like I need you to just once your movie stops, once you stop your press tour, just go work. Like don't talk about race relations and this is what black people think. No, don't do that.
Again.
Don't do that.
Again, if you are in the entertainment industry, I need you to entertain me.
That's
And
it.
That's
Shut
it.
up.
I don't need to hear your politics. I don't need to hear your views on
But what about Jesse Williams? Though?
You know what?
He's gonna have to sacrifice him.
You know what? Jesse Williams is more of an activist than he is an actor, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, there you go. He's an activist who turned to be an actor.
How much work has he actually done?
Isn't he on Grey's Anatomy?
Yeah, and
Oh, he was in
that horror
what's it?
movie.
What's
That horror
that?
movie.
He was in The Butler.
The horror movie
was in The
produced
Butler. Who
by
wasn't?
Joss Whedon.
Cabin in the Woods.
Yes, he was in a cabin in the woods for like 15 minutes.
wait,
He was the black guy that died.
was he?
Damn, I don't even remember. That's how early he died. All right, you know what? Let's move on. God damn.
He was the one that was driving and got
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
I guess that was before I knew who he was, but
So the film opens up with the Thomas family, who are black. They are eating dinner, and dinner is being served by white servants. I just found that funny. And they start talking about poor white people.
which still white servants exist. It's not a big deal.
They start talking about poor white people, and we have a clip of that.
Whatever the deal is, Thad's not about to lose a dime. Just look at the Chadway Shopping Center.
What are you talking about? I took a huge loss on that. 18 months and $6 million to build, and then 3 months later, they burned it to the ground. Now, what do you call that?
A housewarming?
Oh, stop. Dad, what about all those poor people? Obviously, they're the ones who really lost.
What's obvious, my darling, is that there's something inherently wrong when the people historically and repeatedly burn out of their community.
Next time, would you like them to switch community?
Wait a minute. Oh, come, listen, inherently wrong. What does that mean? What, are we politely talking genetics now?
I'm not politely talking anything. White people are genetically inferior, or they're culturally crippled, or they're socially deprived. All those arguments mean absolutely nothing. The bottom line is a very simple question. Are these the people who are beyond being helped?
So yeah, that clip was Harry Belafonte being a supervillain.
That was a meeting of the Legion of Doom because apparently
Yeah, it really was.
every single night they have a feast that you've never seen before. No one, it doesn't matter how rich you are. You don't do that.
It was, but it goes to show you this is, and again, I think the sort of racial components of the people involved in making this movie matters. This is an Asian person, or Quentin Tarantino's viewpoint, maybe, I don't know, of what he thinks black people think. Rich white people are like, yes, let's have our Legion of Doom meetings, and then, and then I will say that black people are inferior. Look, that part might actually be legitimate, but the setting is so bizarre. I'm like, why are they in a villain lair? Like it doesn't make any sense. It is so awkward, and you're just like, I don't.
Like, was this his house?
Yeah, I think it was his house.
This
Like,
was
we got
family.
piano music playing in the background. And
But
like,
I
a
as-
bunch
I
of
as-
black people sitting around a table.
That was his family just having dinner.
Well, family and
Was
friends. But it they should have
like-
just zoomed the camera out of his house, and then it's like a castle, and then there's a moat
Lightning
around.
bolts.
Yeah, where is it on a mountaintop with dragons protecting it? Like, what the hell are you talking about, movie? Like, it's so bizarre.
And then that speech is so
Not the
I
way
can
they say
imagine. I can imagine the conversation happening, but was he directed to be evil?
I think so.
Because he sounded like the devil.
Yeah, but
Like, what fucking year was this?
I think I think this
Is
is
it
like
1995?
No, I think this is the ultimate universe, right? So this is a complete swap.
1945? Fucking
Right.
bizarre.
Like, who talks like that? Like, even in 1995, is it just like no one?
1959?
This is like 1929, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, my darling. Like, what?
Right. Like,
As he wipes his mouth like,
what state?
Put my wine down and give my speech of evil.
Poor
Listen
Harriet
to me.
Winslow.
He's stupid.
Harriet Winslow.
That's who that was.
I know,
Sure,
I know.
They will burn
They're
they will build their own buildings
Harriet
down.
Winslow, a
Yeah.
whole bunch of fucking.
Yeah, it was a bunch of TV moms.
Yeah.
All he needed at the end was, and then I'll take over. Like,
He might as well have had a villain laugh at the end.
I really hope there's an outtake of him doing that.
So after that clip, you hear the sound drowned out, and automatically it cuts to black because that clip is so profound.
And so black.
It needs to sink in. And
I'm not politely saying anything. White people are inferior. Yeah, no kidding, you're not politely saying anything. Holy shit. He said they're genetically inferior. I was like, damn,
that
all
may
right.
be true, but
Like,
goddamn.
don't say it out loud.
I don't think he was saying necessarily that. Like, if you actually listen to the
That's
whole,
literally what he said.
If you listen to the whole thing he says, he lists off a whole bunch of issues that may or may not. He doesn't care what the issue is.
Right.
They just have a problem.
Right, but it was kind of like they may or may not. These things may or not be true, but I think they're true. Like he was kind of like, and they don't have any fathers, and like he just starts naming all this stuff, and it's like, do you believe this stuff, or are you just saying it? Like, well, I believe it, but that wasn't my point. I'm trying to get to this other point about hating white people.
at the same
that's
time,
the other part.
at the same time, his boy calls him out and is like, "Do you want him to move to your neighborhood?"
Like, yeah, like, no. But that's what I said. Like that's a real that part is a very real conversation. Like,
Oh yeah.
Like, and because you hear that, like during the Baltimore uprising here, we had these people burned down their own neighborhoods. I was at a physical therapist in a very white part of Baltimore, and I heard a bunch of people. This was like a few days after, and they're like, they're burning down their own neighborhoods and stuff like that. And I literally, like, the woman didn't notice that I was there because I'm like laying on one of these beds, and I like
Did
literally.
she only hear your voice and assume you were a white guy?
Well, actually, my dear. No, I literally, because I was like laying down, I literally sat up and I was like, really, that's what you think? And she was like, well,
Look, did you hear his voice even just now? Really?
well, no, you gotta throw it on a little bit. You gotta throw it on. But no, I purposely made her uncomfortable about it. And I stopped going to a therapist because the guy who was the physical therapist I was working for had said a couple of comments, and I was like, you're not getting my money.
Oh, that kind of.
But yeah, like, you want them to come to your neighborhood? No? Then shut the fuck up. Look, I'm black, and I don't want them to come to my neighborhood and burning shit down. I'm paying for this. Keep burning it down. Don't come uptown.
I was on 695 yesterday.
Burn
I
down
think.
City Hall.
This dude was driving in front of me in a Jeep, and he was driving like he was road dog with his sunglasses and his baseball hat that he took off and then put on his rearview mirror. Then I saw in the back, Blue Lives Matter. I'm like, I want to run you off the road.
Yeah.
So hard.
But that's all that matters. It's the only one that matters. Everyone knows that.
There you go. So we transition into the credits, and we get some establishing shots of Louis Pinnock, played by John Travolta. He's working in a candy, like a chocolate factory.
How ironic. A white chocolate.
Like they had white chocolate and black and just regular chocolate. I'm like, what's the fucking message? What's the message?
They're not
here?
That we're all chocolate, guys.
Oh God.
All chocolate matters.
Everyone knows white chocolate's gross.
Louis is tasked with delivering a message to Thaddeus Thomas, the guy. Thaddeus.
They couldn't even give him an African name, by the way.
Well, no, that's the idea, right? Like Thaddeus and Buffy and Megan and because they have the traditional waspy names.
Right, but that doesn't make sense in this universe.
Of course it doesn't, because none of this shit makes any sense.
Because their names, the African names should be the ones that are elevated, not white European names. Like they don't even get why racism exists.
Right.
That is just fascinating.
So he's tasked
God,
to deliver
this
to deliver this package to Thad's house. Thad is the owner, and he lives in the nice part of town. So,
I'm sorry, I caught something. I hate to cut you off. What's Travolta's character's name?
Louis.
Louis. It should have been like Tyrone. But when Louis is driving to Thaddeus's house, did you catch this? There is a white lawn jockey.
That's a white lawn jockey.
Instead of a black lawn jockey.
I
Yeah.
missed that.
And you know what?
That made me laugh, man.
I burst out laughing. I was like, you know what? That's attention to detail. Like, that's pretty good.
How do you get that attention to detail and then
miss
miss a
everything
bunch of other
fucking
shit?
Missed the most obvious thing of slavery. Like you missed that, but it's like, oh, white lawn jockey, we nailed it.
Well,
Write that
yeah,
one down.
like he's driving around in this nice area, and then there's just Just a bunch of black people like walking their dogs,
Jogging and shit.
jogging, parking their Mercedes, and having white lawn jockeys, and
Which I'm gonna get one of those. There's gotta be one on Amazon, right?
so Louis goes up to the Thomas estate, and he's buzzed in, and the maid says, park around back. So Louis parks somewhere, and then just starts roaming the grounds.
Like a weirdo.
Like just a weirdo.
Looking in windows. Hey,
Right.
It's hard to
What are
feel
you
for this
doing?
guy because he's an idiot.
Right,
And
he's a
throughout the
dummy.
movie,
Right.
he's an idiot.
He's a dummy, man. Like, he's a big dummy.
Well, their education isn't very good because the whole black white thing.
No, that's not education.
White schools in the Ultimate Universe are not as good as black schools.
So he's trying to figuring some way to deliver this package. So he decides to stand on their lawn,
In the middle of the
right in the middle of the lawn, and
Yell up.
And he's looking in windows, and Thad's wife was naked, and
he's just like,
Thad sees the delivery boy, as it called, the delivery boy.
Yeah.
And it catches his eye. Meanwhile, the maid finally comes and is like, "I told you to go around back, dummy." "Oh, well, I don't know where back is. I don't know.
Just like a black guy would do.
no, I see what you're doing, Michael.
What?
Thank you.
Michael.
So Louis delivers the package, and he drives to the bad part of town, which is the white part of town, right? And it's run down. Good. And
Is it run down or is it just covered in wood and graffiti? Because I'm pretty sure it's just covered in wood and graffiti.
Oh, it's a back lot. That's a back lot. That's not a real set.
so we meet his wife, his infant daughter, and his son. And I found this funny. The son is looking for something to watch on TV.
Yeah.
And he's trying to find something that, where he's trying to find some representation, and everything he's flipping has just a bunch of black people on it.
Yeah.
That was funny. I appreciated
It was
that.
funny to
But,
me, man.
like, again, these parts, this is within that first half hour, you go, all right, that's all right. That's,
I'm
get
down
it.
with this movie, right? Like, I get what this movie's trying to do, and then it just falls off the rails. But I thought that was funny, man. Like, they had white versions of, like, or black versions of, like, Gilligan's Island and Charlie's Angels and shit like that. So it was funny.
But, I mean, and that's the thing. And you see, I guess you see it, you're starting to see a lot of it, I've noticed, with, newer movies now that are trying to reach a more diverse audience and things like that. Or have a more diverse cast. And I'll see comments from, especially like in comic movies and stuff like that, you'll see comments from white people that are like, "Oh, there's so many people, different races. Where are the white people?" and stuff like that. And like some of them are kidding because they're like being ridiculous, trolling. But some of them are serious, and I'm like, yeah, that's what it's like for everyone else who isn't white.
Right.
Go, besides Fresh Off the Boat, go find the Asian show. I'll wait.
I think that's it.
That is it. That is it.
Yeah.
There isn't any.
Yeah, unless
or then there's the one Asian friend, and it's like, hey, I'm Asian.
He's the
I'm
one-
good at math. Like,
the one Asian friend, he's silly and he's always single.
yeah, because and if it's an Asian guy, he's definitely single because on TV nobody gives a fuck about Asian men.
Yeah, and in movies. Like, Asian men are like the invisible minority. Like,
They are.
other minorities get treated like trash. They just don't get anything.
Yeah, it's Asian men and black women.
What's worse, getting treated like trash or being non-existent?
I think non-existent.
Yeah.
Because at
people acknowledge
least when you exist and are treated like trash, at least you can go, hey, stop treating me like trash.
Yeah.
When you're non-existent, you're like, hey, and they're like, who said that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so no one is listening at all. Oh, and that's unfortunate.
All right, so you guys might have to help me out with this next part because I don't know if I was having a stroke or
Did you taste pennies or no?
or if this is just piss poor editing. But they cut
It-
back to the
spoiler
party.
alert. It's before editing. I don't even know what you're gonna say.
They cut back to the party from earlier.
I don't
And
think it's from earlier.
I think it is because I think they were wearing the same clothes. So it's either the same
dirty.
party or they're just like they just don't want to do a wash for that day.
check
Okay.
that.
Okay, so let's assume it's the same. It's the same thing.
So they cut back to the party from earlier, and Thad tells Sugar Ray Leonard that that he wants him to send a different delivery boy because the Peeping Tom thing happened.
Yeah. So no, then it has to be a different time.
But they were wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, but they didn't have
All of them.
Yeah, but they didn't have the budget to do a wardrobe change. Look, they fooled me. I just assumed it was another Eyes Wide Shut party. Or whatever it is rich people do. I don't know. I'm not rich.
Well, you don't have to be rich to have an Eyes Wide Shut party.
That's true. That's true. You just need friends.
So we got. So we cut. So Thad tells.
Oh, shit.
It's just like, you know.
So
it's kind of just like, would you mind? You know, there you go.
So Thad tells Mr. Morgan, aka Lionel. He's Lionel in this movie. He's Mr. Morgan on Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And he tells him to get a different delivery boy next time because he doesn't like,
Peeping
Toms running around.
And here's how I know that scene is from a rich guy's perspective, because if it was me and I was Thad and I'm standing in my house and I see someone see my wife naked, it's cool. I'm going to come outside and I'm going to beat you to death. It's fine. No big deal. You don't have to worry about choosing a different delivery boy because the one that you had isn't available.
Like he just happened to look in the window.
I just happened to punch him in the face repeatedly.
This guy, he didn't just happen to look in the window.
They're all things that just happen to go down.
He stood way back, looked up in the window,
and just kept looking.
Like, yeah, you see that, you look away real quick. This is your boss's wife,
Yeah.
or your boss is anybody in that house.
But the thing is, and again, this is where the movie misses the point.
This is where?
This is yet another example. But it would have, I don't know how you could play it properly, but it would have been kind of interesting if when he saw her naked, he like legit was like, oh. Because like if the roles are reversed in the Ultimate Universe, she would have been seen as a representative of a certain look of women that is more dominant, that is seen as being more beautiful than his wife, who was plain Jane as fuck. But there wasn't any. There was like, there's a naked woman there.
Yeah, he didn't even really react.
So
He just like,
in this universe, do black women like to hit on white guys? Or is the porn all black women getting railed by white guys?
Yes.
I don't like this universe.
Also, is this universe where black men have smaller penises?
Well, there you go.
no.
You can't. Some things you can't change. You just can't change. They don't even translate.
Universal truths.
yeah, exactly.
So we cut quickly.
Sorry, white America.
We cut quickly. We cut quickly back to the Pinnock family, and we see that they're having a hard time financially. The next day,
Shocker.
Louis asks Lionel, aka Sugar Ray Leonard, for the position as foreman. You know, he's trying to get promoted. Louis informs Lionel that, so Lionel's like, oh, you do good work, And Louis is like, yeah, I was the one that went to the big man's house and delivered that package.
I feel like you're not saying it quite black enough.
Yeah, I did that shit. He kept on throwing shit out, and it was.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good black Travolta.
Yes, that was because I can't. It was so white pretending to be black. It was.
You know what it was? It was that idea.
It was a Key and Peele sketch.
Oh. Smothers Brothers. No, but it was, you know what it was? It was like that jokey accent that some white people do. It's like, I'm going to speak jive. You know what I mean? I felt like John Travolta was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Like, here's the thing. You could just play your accent and it would be fine.
Yeah.
The uneducated accent that you're trying to do wouldn't be offensive if it was just an uneducated accent, but it's an uneducated black accent. Or not even uneducated black accent. It's just a black accent. So that's what you think black people talk like. And that to me is a problem.
Yeah.
Because one, I don't talk like that, and I have a whole family of people who don't talk like that. They also don't talk like Thaddeus either. Like, oh, my dear, actually, blah, blah, blah. Like, they don't talk like that either. So here's the thing with black people and all people. We're people, so there are individuals, and we don't all sound like fucking giant caricatures. And that's the problem, is the white people in this movie are portrayed, or quote unquote, the dominant culture, the white-ish culture is portrayed in this extreme, and the black culture is portrayed in an extreme, instead of as people and understanding why they got to where they are. And that's my fundamental problem with the movie.
My problem is that they didn't have all the other white people talking like that, because then I
Right.
would have been laughing my ass off through the entire fucking movie.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, dog?
Oh
Like,
my God.
No, don't do that.
Like I said,
If the conversation with him and his wife were like that, I would be even more offended, but I would probably be laughing a little bit more.
but it would
Because that
actually
shit
make
be
sense.
fucking
but
ridiculous.
it was
Right.
just him. She's
Yeah.
She was like,
she's just
why are
a
you
white
talking?
woman.
She should have been like, why are you
What
talking?
the fuck
like
is
that?
wrong with you?
his son's like,
You
Dad,
went
just
to
buy
an
me a
Ivy
toy."
League school. Why are you saying that?
The punk neighbors are just skinheads,
Right.
acting and talking like skinheads.
But yeah, I mean, that is a good point, is that no other white person in this movie acts the way John Travolta does.
No.
And so it's clearly,
no one acts black.
right, but it's clear that John Travolta said, he made a conscious decision to say, I'm going to play this role as a black person would play it. Which says to me, this is what John Travolta thinks black people sound and act like. Which to me makes me think, fuck John Travolta forever. And I liked Pulp Fiction.
You know who likes this movie? Stacey Dash.
She's probably like, see, this is a white
I
man's
grew up with this movie.
She's probably, look, she should do a
She
second
should
movie.
do
in-
a flight of stairs.
Yeah, well, allow me to push you from behind.
Lord.
She's a horrible human being.
So so John Travolta's character, Louis, tells Lionel that he was the one who delivered the package, and Lionel is just like,
I did that shit good, boss.
and Lionel's like, look, you're fired.
You're like, wait, what?
And John Travolta's like, what? Like you just said I was all this and all that. I was like, yeah, but I don't need a peeping Tom working for me. And John Travolta's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So he decides to drive up to Thaddeus' house to try and plead his case. He can't make it through the gate.
Now this part, again, all of this makes sense in the context of the stupid universe that we're in. But if so let's put ourselves in our own shoes, right? You know, put black people back into where we are in reality, which is, if that happened, the scenario in which Travolta's character gets fired and sort of starts a spiral of his downfall, those things could absolutely happen to a black person in America right now, right? And especially in the early 90s. So, and before that. So him going to Thaddeus' house, to me, is not crazy, right? Because if I got fired and somebody was like, you were a peeping Tom, I'd be like, what? I'm driving right over there to plead my case. That totally makes sense. What happens after that is where you go, well, then you were just dumb. Like, you just did a really you made a really super poor choice.
I want to push back on all of this, in that he deserves everything that happened to him, because he's like, I can be an informant. You're the only person speaking like an idiot and cursing every other word to your boss. He's not gonna fucking promote your dumb ass.
I felt like he probably would have had the peeping Tom thing not happen.
Maybe, but if I was the boss, I wouldn't.
That's because you're racist
fuck
against
that guy.
you're racist against the ancestors of
Against
former slaves.
black, white, black people, whatever the fuck is happening in this goddamn universe.
The Asian version of black-white relation.
But then he goes to try and talk, and he still can't fucking, like, it pisses me off the more I think about it. It's like, I can't go and have a reasonable conversation with somebody because I'm too busy trying to act black. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. I cannot take it.
Again, it misses the point of the struggle that black people deal with.
Also,
Like, it
standing
just
out in the
does.
middle of the lawn and staring up at the window, you're a fucking weirdo, so you probably should be fired.
I mean, look, again, if I was Thaddeus, I would, at a minimum, I would have fired that guy. For looking at my wife through the window, you're
I
gone.
figured you'd have some dogs back there.
Yeah. Well, German Shepherd.
Yeah, of course.
Just roaming the
It's
premises.
roaming free.
So the next
I
scene.
don't think. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But in the context of the movie, he's not acting black, so that wouldn't matter as far as you when you're saying he wouldn't promote him. He's not necessarily acting black
No.
because this is his character.
It's not that I'm saying he's acting black. I'm saying he's the only one speaking in such a jocular fashion.
Well,
Yeah,
let's.
but,
well,
I mean, but what I'm saying is it doesn't
But it-
matter how he's speaking. It's just that's just his character. That's just him.
well,
And-
let's say
and they
this.
always.
But
do.
let's say
Always
that
do.
every-
him
let's
compared
say
to
that
other
everyone-
people. It's him compared to other people.
Right.
Because no one else is like this. No one else speaks like this in the entire movie. No one else has an issue getting an idea across the way he does in this entire film.
Well, okay. So let's say the scenario is that John Travolta is represented.
Real quick,
Yeah.
it's not, I don't think he's acting black. It's what he thinks is acting black, and it pisses me
That's what I'm
off.
saying.
Oh,
like
yeah.
in the context of the movie itself, you're saying you wouldn't hire him or you wouldn't promote him. Like in the context of the movie itself, that's not what he's doing. It's not. You see his character as a white dude acting as he would think.
No, I'm saying
but in the movie itself.
In the movie itself,
he's just an idiot.
Yeah, in the movie itself, he's the least intelligent person in the room at all times.
That is not incorrect.
That's what I'm getting at.
I don't know. I couldn't tell because
I could.
just by his accent.
Not just by his accent, just by
Like, well, in the second half, well, I guess the last two-thirds of the movie.
it's not so
he was
much
a
the
fucking idiot.
accent, it's the fact that when
He did not make good choices.
when you're going to
At
your
all.
boss to try and get a promotion, you dial back on the saying shit left and right. If you watch that scene again, I'm just like unless you have that kind of rapport with your boss, you don't walk in like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
like,
see what you're saying,
And yeah, like
Yeah, I mean, we don't know how the candy factory rolls.
Yeah, but
I don't have that.
But I'm not just looking at it as that one scene. I'm looking at him in general and his overall behavior with everything, and no one else is this much of a dullard.
Well, we don't really get.
Well, okay. So here's my thing. Let's say that because obviously it was a.
I'm also bitter. Fuck him.
But okay, so let's say that the roles of the white characters in this movie are all, let's say in the universe, white people collectively talk like Travolta. They didn't show it because even though there's more white people than black people in this movie, which is bizarre.
Are they also all idiots like Travolta?
Yeah, let's say like for all intents and purposes, they all sound like Travolta. If they do, it's still like his character still has this way about him that he's like, I deserve these things. And that, I think, was probably okay right up until the moment where the guy was like, oh, wait, you're the one who did the peeping Tom thing? We're done with you. Like, we're done with you. Which, by the way, it was funny because Thaddeus didn't say to fire him.
right.
Yeah.
He just said,
Don't send him here.
send a different guy.
Right, and
And when Travolta went to plead his case, the maid took the message and he just brushed it off because he was like, whatever, I don't deal with that shit.
yeah, not small potatoes. So and look again, that was a thing I did not mind in the movie. Yeah, because if I'm a big boy kind of guy,
Yeah, I'm not worried about employee number 678-241.
right, exactly. No, so it does make sense.
And also, it was established that whatever message was delivered to him had no information about the whole peeping Tom thing because he had no idea.
Yeah, he just didn't care.
He had no clue the guy was fired for that.
Right, and he even says that later on. He's just like, "You're fired for that?"
What? I ain't telling him to fire you.
Yeah, and it was kind of one of those things where they glossed over that. I was like, "That's kind of a big deal, like that he didn't actually have him fired." So he's better than me, because I'd have been like, "You're done. You're done." Did you get a good look? Cool. Keep it in your memory because you're gonna have money for food next week. Bye. Sorry, don't fuck around. Keep your eyes level. Don't look up. That's what he should have done.
So the next scene, we see Louis looking for jobs and unemployment, which is not fun, speaking from experience. And on the way home, Louis
Got any good jobs, like special ones you keep for special people? Nah.
Right. What kind of entitlement? Like
Even in
the jobs, for me. Do you have the jobs for me?
But even in this alternate universe, John Travolta's character still has white privilege. It's like, where are my jobs?
Or he thinks he has.
Do you think that? Yeah, and that black woman was like, no.
nigga, no.
That was a rude awakening.
You know how you can really tell he's not black? He was mad that his wife got a job.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, he was like, I don't want you to work. I'd be like, get a job so we can both prosper. What are you doing? I'm not working myself to
Also, the unemployment office, holy fuck.
death. No, that's just that shit's accurate.
Yeah, I'm saying, holy hell, are we lucky to have the internet? Because, wow, going down to a wall and flipping through all the damn things.
I'd do that. Like they have the internet, but but people still post.
Yeah.
People still post.
Do they?
Post things on bulletin boards.
Absolutely.
Shit fucking sucks, man. On the way home from unemployment, Lewis's car breaks down. So he gets out frustrated and he sits on the curb. And all of a sudden, Officer Michael Beach shows up.
Right. That's when I saw him, I just burst out laughing.
So
I'm like,
who we talking about?
Well,
he's
we have
gonna
a-
be a fucking asshole.
We have
that's what he
a
does.
clip of Officer Michael Beach.
What's going on?
Put your hands up. I said put your hands up.
What'd I do?
Put your hands up now.
What'd I do? What'd I do?
Turn around. Walk to the car. Turn around.
Hands up.
Walk to
This
the
is
car
bullshit,
now.
man. I didn't do. Why can't I know what I did?
Shut up.
If I were you, I'd just do as you're told.
ID?
It's in my pocket. Get out, man.
Stay right there. Don't move.
18 Alpha 3, code 6 on 211.
Look, there's nothing going on here, so why don't you all just please go back in the bar?
Male white, brown, and blue, 6 foot.
What's the matter? Your fucking cops got nothing better to do!
Hey, fuck you, cop.
He's okay.
Sir, you want to step over here, please? Sorry for the inconvenience. You fit the description of a suspect who's committed several bank robberies around the neighborhood.
Inconvenience me? That's what you call it?
You got a problem? Take it up with my sergeant.
I didn't do nothing. That's my problem.
Hey, hold that
You
down.
want to go to jail, huh? You want to go
This
to
is
jail?
bullshit, man. This is bullshit. Leave the man alone.
Look, you want to go to jail, huh? Is that it? Is that what you want to happen? Everything is over, so I suggest you get in your car and go home now.
Leave him alone.
Get back in the bar, please. Everything is fine.
We're sick of this shit. Yeah. Police! Fuck the police! That shit ain't right. Get the fuck out of here! All right. Let's go to
Okay, so there you got to see Michael Beach finally beat up a man, at least. In a movie.
So what do you guys think of that scene, Terrence?
That's all too real. But why did they think he threw the bottle?
I thought they were looking at the person that threw the bottle and
They
decided, you know what?
I'm just gonna beat the shit out of this
You know
nigga.
what? I don't like your accent.
I don't know why, but I find it
Did you see
offensive.
the head bop when he was freaking talking to? I was like,
Dude,
stop.
What I do? It's me, John Travolta, a black guy. Like,
Fit the description.
Bullshit, man. Like,
I wonder how that played in like a movie theater.
oh,
With,
black
like,
people
white
didn't see this movie.
No, I mean with white people, because this movie isn't for in spirit, this movie isn't for black people.
No.
It's for white people. So I'm wondering how that scene played. Especially
Oh, this is HBO, so
In
it
the-
wasn't in a theater.
in the 90s.
I feel like this was in the movie theater.
I feel like it might have been
Really?
like it might have
I
been
didn't
just
know this
produced by
was an
HBO.
movie.
I didn't know it was an HBO movie either.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been. I feel like it was in the theaters.
But is
I'm
it
very
for white
curious.
people? Because it's not like white people are going to be able to relate to anything
that's-
the
I
black
guess-
people are doing.
But that's but
I think that's the point, though.
right.
I think it's supposed to be quote unquote a teachable moment. But see,
Right.
all of these things that you think about black people, that's shallow and not cool, because if we reverse the roles, you can see that, oh look, John Travolta, you identify with John Travolta and his struggle, you go, oh, I get it. But here's the thing, you missed the entire point of why racism exists.
Now the funny thing about that is, this is for a white audience. Do you think that they would think that this missed the point?
No.
Going to see
No,
it?
I
That's
think
what I'm
they
saying.
would think
They
that
would be
this
like, oh my
hit
God,
the
this is
nail
so-
on the
This
head.
is so profound, exactly.
This is
Like,
better
we
than
see it,
Boys
like-
in the Hood.
Like we see it and like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Like, no, that's not how any of this works. But they'll see it not knowing like the rest of it, everything else that goes along with with it, and they'll say, "Oh, this is incredibly profound."
Right. I mean, like there are moments in this movie that I think only black people would get, even though this movie is largely for a white audience. Like I don't think white people would get the whole idea of choosing the black doll that his son chooses later. I don't think they understand the ramifications of that, right? Black people understand that because
like we don't have representation.
Like we don't have that level of representation. They're like, oh, it's just like a black superhero character. Like who cares?
Yeah, like they'll.
It's just not.
I'm sure they'll get the scene, but they won't understand the weight of the scene. Like even the TV,
yeah, I think that's a better way.
The TV thing, like they'll get it.
Like white people on TV a lot. But but there's a lot more behind.
The weight of how that weighs on a black person on a daily basis is a whole different story.
Right, and to the movie's credit, is there a way to explain that, to give that weight? I'm not so sure there is, because how are you supposed to give the weight of all of slavery, institutionalized racism, Reconstruction, yada, yada, yada? How are you supposed to do that all in a tight hour and 30
And then do that with a crappy director and shitty actors? I don't know how the fuck you're going to do that.
And bad lighting and a lot of other things. So it's... I mean, in fairness to the movie, I'm not so sure there is a way to do it. Maybe it should have been a miniseries. I don't know,
possibly
like White Roots or like something like that. I don't know, but I think it's a little difficult to do that in a movie. However, I can understand somebody who is a little bit more open saying, "Oh, okay, like I get it a little bit more," but at the same time, I really felt like, had they done the slavery thing in the beginning, I think everything holds more weight. And because they just made it more about Thaddeus being rich, and black people being rich, and white people being poor, it gives a very surface understanding of what racism is.
Right.
It's not, because those things, look, you being rich or you being in power, like if you're born in, as a white person now, if you're born into having tons of money and prestige and all this other stuff, that's not your fault. Like, that's no more your fault than it is that a black person is born into poverty. Like, that's just totally random, and that's just the way the universe is, right? Like, from your birth, I'm saying, not all the underlying stuff. So that doesn't affect you. However, the reasons why white people have more money and access and power in this country all stems from people owning other people and getting free labor, and then pushing an agenda about what looks better and this is more acceptable and this is less acceptable and things like that over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Yeah. And then it manifests in 1995 by saying, hey, you fit the description of a person who robbed a bank, to a guy who's sitting on the side of the road because his car broke down. Right. Like, if you start here in the story and you don't tell any of this, how the fuck are you supposed to tell a full story? You don't.
Right. So a little bit of background on the movie. The production companies were UGC, Reicher Entertainment, and A Band Apart. It was distributed by Savoy Pictures. The budget was $7 million. It made.
Where did the money go?
It made $3.7 million.
Good. That's too bad, though. I wish it would have been profitable, because I would have liked to have seen the Burden trilogy, as we said. Hashtag Burden trilogy.
Single white mom's burden.
Yeah. all of the burdens.
How am I going to pick up my kids from soccer when my Mercedes SUV is being worked?
Mercedes.
All of them.
Where am I? So yeah, the cops beat the hell out of Louis for no damn reason, and a guy named.
You feel bad for him, by the way?
For who?
For Louis.
No. No, I don't. Because
do you feel bad for anything bad that happens to Louis?
No, because if Louis were to follow what the maid's instructions were and to go around back, this movie would not have to happen.
Where those people belong and not the front of the house.
I mean, look, this wouldn't be here.
Now the question is, put the roles back the way they normally are.
Of course.
You feel bad for Louis?
Because I'm a racist.
That shit ain't right. He's gonna treat Louis so terribly.
He's gonna feel bad for Tyrone.
Yeah. Tyrone, you shouldn't have looked in the window. It's not Tyrone's fault.
White guy named Stanley comes over and consoles Louis, saying that the cops are afraid of them at night because they all look like a bunch of
That
ghosts.
shit was fucking hilarious.
I didn't catch that.
I didn't either.
I caught that.
Oh,
I caught that.
I was
That's funny.
like, what?
but you know what I mean. They were just like, white lawn jockey. We look like ghosts at night. We
Look
know.
like ghosts at night. I'm like, that's so fucking stupid. Are you kidding me? Okay.
Oh, this is gonna
right.
this is a humdinger. We nailed it. This is gold.
Cut to Thaddeus and his wife as they discuss her fashion show rehearsal.
Also, this was hilarious.
And apparently there are so many little white kids running around that it was adorable. That is a direct quote from Megan. Like, oh, it was so adorable, all the little white kids. But some were a little undisciplined, though.
And you're gonna like, yeah,
And,
all jam.
and Thaddeus says, well, what did you expect? They don't have any fathers. Like,
Yes.
God damn!
Yo.
I think this was at the 31-minute mark.
Yeah, and this is where the hard decline.
Like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing?
But again, they were like, yeah, because the black fathers. But again, you are touching on the surface of that conversation and saying,
Right.
well, they don't have fathers. Is there any? Where is the one black character like? Well, actually, like, where is the or a woke white character to be like, well, actually, it's because statistically the families were broken up during slavery. Like, they don't have fathers. Moving on.
So, in the meanwhile, Louis comes home to his shitty house, and he's consoled by his wife. She tells him that they're about to get kicked out if they don't pay the landlord. And they get into an argument because she's like, well, what if I get a job? And she's like, bitch, you ain't getting no job, bitch. Or some shit. I don't know. I'm trying to work on my John Travolta. It's not as good as his, but I'm trying to work on it.
For whatever that means, like, yeah, you're black John Travolta. There's a talent you'll never need after this episode is over.
Oh boy, that's on tape.
Forever. And video.
So the next day, they are evicted by the landlord. He has the county sheriff. I'm hungry, guys.
Yeah, I am kind of hungry.
They get evicted by the county sheriff. The sheriff comes over, and he's black. The landlord is black. The deputy is white. And this is bullshit, man. This is bullshit. And then he does what we do, right? He does if all the roles of the races were reversed. Yeah. You look at the black guy and he's like, "Come on, bro. You know this is bullshit, man."
Yeah, exactly.
He does that to the white cop. He's like, "Come on, man. You know this is bullshit."
And the white cop's like, "I can't do anything."
Right, like
he's like, "Blue lives matter, dog." even in this universe, thin blue line can't cross.
So
that shit was kind of funny.
Like they get all the little stuff right, man.
They miss
get all the little
shit,
stuff,
but the little stuff is on.
Like the important stuff. Nah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about explaining why they don't have fathers.
It's like you know how everybody has to have a Tyrone to tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
Tyrone was taking a lot of breaks.
Yeah.
He wasn't there to keep on track for everything.
Yeah. Tyrone did like a cursory, brush of a cursory review of the.
He was on vacation.
He wasn't. He
did not show up on
He
film
sat
day.
in for like every 3 meetings.
So he seems to be going.
How the fuck did they get the nuance right?
Right.
What failed on the big picture?
Right.
How the fuck does
Actually,
that work?
you know what? I'm gonna push back on what you said earlier. No, this is like literally anti-Lee Daniels, right? Like they got all like where he has no level of nuance. They have extreme levels of nuance and miss all of the big parts. All of the big parts.
That makes no sense.
It makes no like the more we get into it, the less sense it makes because there's more of these moments because I forgot a lot of these moments. There's a lot of these moments in
There's
this
little
movie.
things that you go, huh? That's kind of interesting.
Like,
Accurate.
all
The
right,
story.
okay,
That's so
all right.
No,
Then
the main story, the easiest part of a movie.
It'll give you that little bit like, come on, brother. Like, all right, cool, you got that, and then plummets off the fucking cliff again before it recovers a little bit.
Amazing.
So Louis gets chewed out by his wife and his mother-in-law as the family packs up.
Typical white women, right? Isn't that it?
So the family leaves. They go to Grandma's house. Louis is not allowed to go to Grandma's house for whatever reason. Because Grandma don't like him.
Nope.
So it's like,
Look,
bye, you homeless.
look.
Because that's what black women do.
Yeah, they don't support black men.
Right.
Incidentally, you and I talked about this this morning. Louis is kind of a do-nothing nigga. Like, he kinda is.
I don't feel sorry for Louis at all.
He kind of is.
Like,
look, the accent aside, John Travolta's kind of playing a nigga in this movie.
Oh,
like,
he's a dumb nigga.
Yeah,
they got that accurately, as we are about to find out. So there's a montage of Louis looking for work and lamenting on the state of his life, which, all right. Then we cut to Thaddeus pulling into his driveway, and they find Louis waiting for him, which this is what a stupid-ass do-nothing nigga would do.
Yep.
Louis pulls a gun on him and tries to extort money from him.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Because that's how do-nothing niggas think, right? It's like, I'm gonna get paid either way, right? So I'm gonna pull a gun out on him and I'm gonna make him drive me to the bank to get $3,000 because that's all I'll need. How about get your job back?
Yeah, just talk to the guy.
How about just and that?
When he pulled the gun out, I'm like, oh well, this is.
This escalated quickly.
You could have just been like, well, actually, I wasn't looking, and if you could just talk to.
Could have. But hey, whatever. So they drive to a bank teller.
God damn it.
They drive to a bank teller window to get some cash, but the teller is like, nah, we're closed.
Which, that scene to me didn't make any sense because, or I shouldn't say it didn't make any sense. It made perfect sense. But I would have preferred if Thaddeus was like, because he gets mad and he's like, bring me your boss. And, I want to talk to your boss because they won't let him take the money out because they're closed or whatever. If the roles were really reversed, he would have had to go get his boss and he would have made him get that money out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but but in this universe, the black teller is like, fuck off. And then somehow that worked out. I was like, no, it wouldn't. That black teller would have been fired immediately.
He's like, I want to speak to your boss. It's like, well, I'm the boss of this window, so fuck you. Get out.
I was like,
that's not how that works.
No.
At all.
I feel like that was that dude's last week at work, and he had no more fucks to give.
It's just like,
He's like, fuck you. No, you get no money. But isn't like Thaddeus? What does he own? What does he own?
It's
Everything.
something
A
business
candy factory, but he don't keep cash on him.
Except when he does.
Right.
Thank you.
We'll get to that. Louis directs Thaddeus.
Did you want some money?
Louis directs Thaddeus to his truck and forces him inside. Louis drives him to the white part of town, to his old house that he just got evicted from. The two figure out. Actually figure out.
Doesn't he go into that house?
No, because it's boarded up.
Oh, okay.
So the two actually figure out what the disconnect is. And Thaddeus is like, oh, this is just a miscommunication. Let me call Lionel and tell him to give you your job back. And Louis is like, nah, cuz. What?
In movies, that is one of the things that drives me crazy is that lack of communication thing. It's like a guy will be dating a girl.
It happens in romantic comedies all the time.
100% of the time.
There's always
they walk in and she's like, you're messing around with Susan? I thought we were together.
Like, it's not what it looks like.
It's like when your girlfriend walks in and there's your ex-girlfriend on the bed with a big giant bloody hole in her stomach, and there's a crazy old man who keeps getting you into trouble, and your girlfriend's like, what are you doing? And you're like,
and you just don't say anything.
But like, I'm blind. I can't see. I'm
right,
daredevil.
yes, exactly. Like, don't worry about it. And it was just funny because here they actually did the opposite and had the conversation where it's like, oh, that's what happened. Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry.
I hate this movie, man.
It's like, oh, my bad. Okay, I got it. Like, it wasn't even like Thad said, like, yeah, I'll get your job back. Let me call. Like I'm not gonna really call. I'm gonna call the police and like dime you out and get you arrested. No, he like legitimately was like, oh, is that what it is? I don't have to spend any money and not get shot. I'll call Louis, no problem, so I can go the fuck home. And he's like,
no, I don't believe you. What?
Believe him.
Right. This was the official point where it was cemented. This is the final nail in the coffin for any sympathy that Louis garnered in this movie. Because this whole fucking movie could have been done in 40 minutes.
Yeah. And it would have been the one time in our universe or the ultimate universe.
You say ultimate or alternate?
Ultimate universe.
The ultimate.
Yeah, like the Marvel Ultimate Universe. Like, it is the first time in the multiverse that a white man and a black man have been able to talk straight up about a misunderstanding that caused serious race relations, and they could have fixed it, but John Travolta was too ignorant and too fucking stubborn to fix it. He could have fixed the entire multiverse right then, and he blew it.
I'm working on my John
He could have
Travolta.
pulled a fucking Flash and fixed everything, but he fucking blew it. And now look where we are.
Now we got another 44 minutes of this fucking movie.
By the way, in that universe, I would assume that there is a podcast called White on White Cinema. It would have to be, right?
I'm pretty sure that's just Bukake, but you know.
Ugh, gross.
Just what?
That was a dangerous, terrible.
Cut to the Thomas. Megan hears the door. Megan, Thaddeus' wife, she hears the door and assumes it's Thaddeus. And instead, it's their son who has brought a white woman home.
Yes.
And the look on her face is like,
So disgusting.
oh, who is this?
I wish there was more on that because
I did
quick.
more of it.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Like,
And it was so funny, like, he's like, oh, it's okay. You're fine. That black mom was not pleased.
She really wasn't. She's
She's
really
like,
wasn't.
what school did you go to? What are your intentions with my son? She should have asked her.
Lewis takes Thaddeus to an abandoned
This movie is
warehouse
ridiculous.
where he is staying with Stanley. We cut to the fashion show that
this shit was fucking out of place as hell.
Oh, no.
hold on.
I thought this actually was really
Hold
quite
on,
funny.
backing up just a second. Stanley is the one with common sense.
He's the only one with common sense.
He's like, let him go. Will you watch him? No. If you walk away, I'm letting him go.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, Stanley.
He's like, nah, bro, you're not putting me in on this shit. I'm like, nope.
that's Tyrone.
Yeah, Stanley is the Tyrone.
Stanley. From now on, if there is ever a situation where a white person needs to be checked or a black person needs to be checked about white culture, we have Stanley.
Yeah, that's called pulling a Stanley.
Yeah.
Like, nah, son, don't do that.
Like, I'm going to let him go. Don't
Yeah.
leave him here with me.
Like, I will betray you.
Don't get me involved. Is police looking for you? No.
Yeah.
You need to get out.
Look, I get it. I'm on the Stanley. I'm on Stanley's side.
I love when he
Nah,
walks
bro.
in there with the gun. He's like, what are you doing? He's not going to shoot you. Just go. Just leave.
He didn't even know how to use a gun. John Travolta just fires it like, okay, well, he knows how to use it. He's not going to shoot you.
So, cut to the fashion show run by Megan. She's upset that Thaddeus isn't there because he promised that he would be there. She gets a message from the police.
Before we get there, the fashion show is a bunch of African American women, in their, more traditional sort of African garb and things like that, promoting, blackness and all. It's all great. Then the fashion show ends, and they bring out a bunch of kids who I guess it's like a benefit.
It's a charity.
It's a charity, and it's a bunch of poor, dusty-ass looking white kids, and they're just like, hi, everyone. I started laughing uncontrollably. I was like, oh, come on. They're like, oh, look how destitute they are. We're just trying to help those people. I was like, all right. We get it.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It was utterly ridiculous.
Because they don't have fathers.
Right. It should have been further. It should have said something like fatherless children or something like that. That should have been the name of the band.
They didn't have fathers, so they're easier to kidnap.
Yeah, just take them.
So
Who's gonna stop?
A police officer comes up to her and quietly whispers in her ear that he would like to question her about the disappearance of her husband. Cut to Louis and Thaddeus. Louis forces Thaddeus to watch him eat food at this, taco stand or whatever, this hot dog stand.
If I had to describe this movie poorly, I would describe it as a black and white guy drive around town and eat at shitty places late at night. Like, that's because they do it like 2 or 3 times.
I would
like,
describe
why?
this as a movie where chicken boxes don't exist.
Did you notice?
Oh, that would have been good if you'd been like.
Did you notice the sign? The 2 drinks that were at the top? Orange soda and grape soda.
All right.
Yes. I did.
This is too much.
Yes, it was.
This is
I was
offensive.
looking at him like,
I saw that too.
is it offensive or is it just more nuanced that they're getting right?
Again, how did
Like
you
just
get
the little things, and they're like, oh fuck you, yo.
That was so funny. I noticed
God
it too.
damn it.
I didn't see that, but that's
In this
so
universe,
good.
white people really like grape soda and orange
Great.
soda.
Those were the
They,
top two drinks.
they were next to each other.
right up. White one was it was orange soda and grape soda.
Yep.
Shut up.
So
I said,
funny.
come on,
Yeah.
really?
They can get that right, but
They miss all the other shit. But again, look, if you're just giving a score on nuance, oh, they're batting 1,000. Like, they are batting 1,000. They are
you know
nailing
what?
it.
I got it. They brought Tyrone in, had him make a list.
Yep, and you know what? That actually is probably not that far off. They probably had a black person as a consultant for this movie, and they were like, "What are things like,
What are the little things?
what are
that
the like?
annoy you?
How are you gonna talk
and
about-
he was like, orange soda, grape soda, like that has to be top of the list.
Do you realize what you just said?
Lawn jockey, yeah, I guarantee it.
They got a black person to be a consultant on a movie full of black people.
Yes. Who are they gonna ask? Harry Belafonte? He's from the islands. He does it.
Oh, he didn't care. He got that paycheck and rolled the fuck out.
I think Harry Belafonte thought he was doing something profound.
I bet he
probably did.
did.
I hope he realized he didn't.
This actually, like, for all of the work Harry Belafonte has done over his career for black people and, advocacy or whatever, it has been washed away by how bad his movie is. Harry Belafonte is now at 0. He has to do more work to build back up. And now Jesse Williams is taking over for him, so he's out.
Yeah, you're done, son.
You ruined your entire career with this bullshit-ass movie.
So Louis questions Thaddeus about how it feels now that the power dynamics have shifted, because Louis has him at gunpoint. He should have asked him, hey, Thaddeus, how does it feel to be walking around with a dummy? Because even though you're willing to give me my job back, I don't want it. I just want $3,000 from you.
$3,000 cash.
No more, no less.
Yeah. I feel like, look, if you're going to rob the guy, at least get, some serious money out of it.
All of this shit for $3,000.
So
you kidnapped a motherfucker for $3,000
For 3 days.
If you get
for
caught,
$3 grand.
Yeah, a
you're
grand a
going
day.
to jail.
right.
You fucking idiot. Good
So
job.
some
Education
thugs,
matters, guys.
some thugs start harassing the two of them.
Those aren't thugs, they're white.
And then that's why I chose that word. Some thugs start harassing the two of them, and they begin to assault them. The shop owner takes out a shotgun and shoots and kills one of the thugs. And
I wasn't upset by this.
the two men flee. So back
Hold
to
on
the
a second.
hideout.
Here's another thing about this movie is bullshit. The cops responding to gunshots quick as fuck in this movie.
Yeah, it is kind of funny because they address that at one point. They're like,
They say they don't come here unless they have to. Boom, boom, they show up.
I was like, that's not how it works in the hood.
No.
No, you got to kill like 9 people in a row. And they're like,
Somebody's gotta clean it up, I guess.
they keep calling. Fine, they're coming. God.
So Lewis
Dunkin'
asks,
Donuts is still open.
Lewis asks Stanley to watch Thaddeus so that he can be with his son for his birthday. And Stanley is like, no. Like he said what you said earlier. If you leave him here, I'ma let him go.
See, Stanley, you kind of fucked up because you shouldn't have said it.
Yep.
Well, Stanley's kind of stupid.
Again,
but-
education systems, not very good.
Stanley spending all his money in a bar that he comes running out of and then sleeps in a homeless, in a freaking abandoned warehouse.
Yeah, save up your money for rent, homeboy.
So the next day, Lewis and Thaddeus go to Lewis's son's birthday.
This is ridiculous.
he takes his son with him, and the three of them go to the toy store so he can pick a present. The son picks the very popular black action figure, and Lewis is like, "You sure you want that one? Like, there's a perfectly good white guy who looks like a serial killer because he's dressed in all black, has a crew cut, and a knife in his hand. You don't want that guy?" It's like, no, I want this superhero, this guy in this costume and his cape.
Knife in his hand.
Like,
Oh, he had a straight knife, like a butcher knife in his hand,
yes,
man.
because that is the classic look of white people.
Did you catch the hero's name that the kid was slurring throughout the entire thing? And I didn't
It's
catch
like
it towards the end?
Ultraman or something like that.
Chroma Man.
Chroma Man?
Chroma.
Oh. Yeah, nice. Wow. Again, it's the little things, everybody. It's the little things.
So
He should have been called African Man.
John Travolta gives his son some money, and son goes in and he wants Cro-Magnon Man or whatever his name is, and he can't afford it. So he comes out and he's like, "Oh, what's the matter, son?" And he's like, "I can't afford Super Black Man, Dad." It's like, "Well, I mean, you can afford Crazy White Guy, can't you?" And he's like, "I don't want Crazy White Guy. I want Super Black Man." And he's like, "All right, well," and Thaddeus, all of a sudden, just magically has some money in his wallet that he didn't have in his wallet before, but now all of a sudden he has money in his wallet.
And quite a bit, actually.
Right, and he's like, "Oh yeah, go ahead, take some money out of my wallet and give it to your son so you can buy Super Black Man." So
That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good.
and fucking Louis is like, you better take this out of what you owe me. So it's $3,000 minus the $20 or whatever that it takes to buy Super Black Man. Like, I don't like Louis, man. I don't like Louis at all.
Was Thaddeus still taped up at this point?
Yeah, he had his handcuffs, and he said, "Oh yeah, just take it out of my pocket, my shirt pocket." Nigga, what the fuck? Like, you had money all this time, you didn't?
It would have been funny if he had pulled out like a roll of 50s and he had like $3,000.
$3,000.
Like, God damn it. So
that's the other thing I found. Why was he driving around with this nigga with his hands tied up, taped up? If you get pulled over, it's a wrap.
Idiot.
Yeah. I can't drive around in a beat up pickup truck with a rich looking white dude and not get arrested. That will definitely happen.
That's a drug deal.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, where are you guys going? Like, well, we're friends and we're gonna get Chipotle together. You're not. You're arrested.
Didn't you get pulled over one day for because it was you, I think someone else, and your girlfriend at the time who was white?
No, I think that was Rob.
Was it you?
That was me.
Yeah.
That was that was when we were in California, in San Diego, and it was me and my best friend. You met him before. Probably. I think you have. The big giant black dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was driving. I'm in the passenger seat. She's in the back seat. Pulled over.
Ma'am, do you need any help? They're trying to kill me.
I swear to Christ, if she pulled anything like that.
Can you imagine if she just thought that shit was funny and just was like, they kidnapped me. They'd have beat the two of you to death.
Here's the thing. She would think it was funny if it weren't for the violence afterwards.
Right, exactly. But by the time she would have to say, it's a joke, the nightstick would have already been punching you in the side of the head and you would have already gone down.
You'd have already been Michael Beached.
Yes, Michael Beach is a term. Beached is no longer about animals ending up on a beach.
Unless he runs up and beats on them.
Beach is being beaten up by the actor Michael Beach.
Maybe that's why they get washed up on the beach. He's in the ocean just beating animals.
Beating up everyone. That guy's a horrible human being.
So
or he always plays one.
The three of them stop, and the two men go have a bathroom break, and Thaddeus and Louis have a chat, which we have a clip of.
Okay.
Don seems like a nice kid.
Well, he is a nice kid.
You're a good father to him. You don't understand. You don't look like a criminal type.
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
Got a wife, kids, nice family. Got a lot to lose. I don't quite understand why you jeopardize all of that for a couple of $1,000. It's not worth it.
Well, you think I want to be in this shit?
Obviously, nobody forced you to do it.
2 fucking minutes of your time to help me and none of this shit would happen. 2 minutes.
So, do you agree with John Travolta or do you agree with Harry Belafonte?
No.
That's
the right answer.
Right. I mean, I'm kind of like, it's not. Yeah, if Harry Belafonte had given him 2 minutes, they could have fixed everything. However,
if you'd have just did your job in the beginning.
Right. But even let's say that was a mistake, whatever. But even after that, he gave you an opportunity to get out of it.
Yep.
And then you didn't take it, and now you're like, 2 minutes, baby. Like, but he gave you 5 minutes where you guys had the rare time where two people talk and the understanding is completely shown. And then you said, fuck reason. And then you were like, let's continue down this disastrous road.
Where you take a face bath in a public bathroom. It looks like it's made out of AIDS.
Ugh, that's a horse bath. Don't do that. That's what they call it.
All those napkins. Fucking. What a shame.
Harry Belafonte is not an environmentalist.
Oh my God, he went through so many trees.
So
Wash his face.
Louis drops his son off, and he and Thaddeus have a quick dinner where they get to know each other better. Louis kind of, sort of, half-ass apologizes for, you know, all the stuff that's going on. And then Louis is talking out loud, and he's like, yeah, I don't really have an end game. So, I mean, if you give me the money, like, you already know what I look like, and you know where I live because I took you there because I'm an idiot.
Right.
And you know my son. Like, man, I really didn't think this through. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna go get it.
I'll be right back.
No,
He didn't say that. It was the way he said it. He was like, I can't let you go. Which basically like, I'm gonna have to murder you.
Right, I'm gonna have to kill you.
I'll be right back, Mr. Untied Hands.
Yeah. He was like, look, they still have a deal in orange soda, so let me go pick one of those up.
And for some reason, the window is around the corner now when there was one right there.
Right.
So he threatens this man's life.
Right, he literally says, I can't let you go.
And then goes around the corner and then comes back like, oh, what?
Yeah, dude. The second you got around that corner, I would have ran my ass off.
Right.
I don't know. Usain Bolt gone, dude. And that's the fucked up thing. In this universe, I assume black people are slow. They're slower runners.
Well, that's the thing.
Shorter heel bones.
That's the thing. In this universe, even in this universe, Harry Belafonte taps into his latent Negro tendencies and gets the hell out of there when danger's near.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't even think about it.
Fuck that.
Now, okay, so that conversation, you know, it's like, oh, well, I can't let you go and stuff like this. Again, all of this could have been avoided when you talked about it and like. And actually, they gave him several outs. They gave him several outs where he could have just been like, you know what? If you don't press charges, like, you just got to take the guy at his word. Like, look, man, I made a mistake. My bad.
Right.
Can I go home? I'll drop you off. Is it cool? You don't even have to get me my job back, but if you could just not get me arrested, that'd be great. No. I guess I'm just going to have to kill you. Wait right there. I'll be right back. No. I'm gone. Over. Out of there.
So the two play cat and mouse, and Thaddeus eventually breaks into a house and finds a phone, and instead of calling the police first, he calls his wife. I don't understand that. Like, yeah, I know you want, your wife to know you're safe, but if you don't know where you are, how about you call the cops first and have them trace the phone and figure out where the hell you're at? So the homeowners are awakened by his presence, and they cause enough commotion to allow Louis to find out where he is.
Was that a little girl?
Right. So this little girl, she looks like a little girl because she says, whenever mommy's in the house, well, mommy said if someone's in the house, I get to shoot them.
Did you say mommy?
Shit.
I thought you said like Derek, who comes running around the corner.
She said mommy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind.
She
that.
said mommy. And
with her gun.
Right, with a gun. And
She's
then
like 10. I'm like, who gives a 10-year-old a handgun?
And then the husband or the father.
Maybe that's some good shit. I don't know.
The father comes down, and Harry Belafonte grabs a trophy.
Yo.
It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
He throws this trophy at the dude, and it hits him square in the face.
Yeah, it does.
Like, it was a perfect throw.
I mean, it was to the point where it looked like, it was so accurate of a throw. It looked like they had something attached to his face that was like a retracting cord to pull it and hit him in the face.
Now see,
damn.
Here's where in this universe, if they had shown a little bit of history, how black people, like, we don't really have the ties to Africa because of the whole slave trade, but Europeans have the ties to their ancestry and understand it very well. So maybe in this universe, they have the ties to Africa, and they know how to throw javelins like a fucking boss.
Yeah, exactly.
So he
Dude, he just nailed that guy. I was like, damn. It didn't even like sort of hit him or like hit him in the chest and like, oh no. It was just like, Boom, straight up. I was like, okay, well, apparently Harry Belafonte is a star athlete. Okay.
So Louis eventually finds him.
I'm sorry. I just now thought about that. They would have had a Caucasian baseball league.
I kind of, you know what?
Instead of 42, it would be 24.
You know what? I kind of want to just sit and imagine all of the opposite things because it's actually more profound. Like, that would be just so bizarre. Yeah,
Look at Black Alan Tudyk be like, hey, Mr. Mayonnaise, come on now.
Black Alan Tudyk.
Look, I know what else it's called.
Like,
I don't know what the Black Alan Tudyk is.
Like Tyrone Bigham. So, you know, like, I don't know. But yeah, that's really funny. Wow, that's really funny. Hockey is now dominated by black people. There's like 3 white guys in hockey, and it's like, wow, this is gonna be amazing. Like,
Michael Jackson's a white guy getting blacker.
Oh shit!
Damn.
He's got finally Uncle Ruckus is correct.
Vitiligo?
Yeah, he's got vitiligo. That's fucking hilarious. Like, yeah, that's really weird. Like, so who's like the there's like a white Al Sharpton, like a fat white guy who's bad at reading teleprompters, but then gets skinny, but still remains terrible at reading teleprompters. Like, yeah, there's a white Martin Luther King.
Wow, yeah. Martin Luther.
Yeah, just Martin Luther. Yeah.
There's well air-conditioned white barbershops.
Like, just the idea of a world where everything is the polar opposite, but Asian people are still ignored. Like, they still don't get any representation in the media. In no universe do they ever work out.
So, and then I'm about to get real fucking dark. Would the Holocaust, would that have just been like burning Muslims alive?
Probably, yeah. Arguably it would be. That's really, like, the idea of a complete opposite universe is really kind of funny. See, this is why, if this movie didn't suck, a Burden trilogy would have been good. It would have been good. Like, just pull out and start to explore the world as it is. Like, this world where, you know, it's like, oh, you know, Steve Buscemi broke the color barrier in baseball, or like whatever. Like, that shit would be hilarious to me. Really awesome. It was the whitest name I could think of.
The first black president, Steve Miller.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 43 black presidents before that. Like, that would have been, that's what they should have done.
First president, George Washington Carver.
Yeah, exactly. Oh shit. God. You know what? The first peanut president. You know. But that would be awesome. Like, that would be kind of an interesting way. Like, if you're gonna do it, like, really go for it, man. Yeah, go all the way. Good.
So
we gotta be wrapping up soon, please.
Lewis eventually finds them, and they head back to the hideout. And Lewis and Thaddeus have a talk that you'll see right now.
I knew I couldn't trust you. You was just waiting to get a chance to leave. I know it. I
started feeling sorry for you. I started making excuses for you. That you were poor, that you were ignorant.
Fuck you.
Inarticulate. I tried to justify what you were doing. There's no justifying you, Pinnock. Offered to pay you the money. I even offered to get you back your job. But no, that wasn't enough. Because you figure that the whole world owes you more than that.
The world don't owe me shit. You owe me something, motherfucker.
I don't owe you a goddamn thing, you hear me? So you lost your job. Lots of people lose their jobs. Tough luck. Get another one, goddamn.
Give me these arms. Come on, give them to me.
Your job and your family is your problem, not mine. But you blame everybody else in the whole world but yourself, you son of a bitch.
You had nothing to do with it, right? All me. And in fact, you wouldn't even understand a guy like me doing this. Because you would never do it.
Never. I've too much respect for myself and other people to ever be a goddamn criminal.
You smug motherfucker. What you do back there in the house? You broke in, right? That's breaking and entering. Is that against the law? And you popped that guy upside his head. Now that's assault. Is that against the law?
That's completely different.
It's always different when it comes to you, isn't it? You talk too fucking much. Open up. Now you the ignorant motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
So yeah, Terrence, you rolled your eyes during this.
I did. It was painful. Like that shit is. His accent is a mess.
Motherfucker. All right, so but let's talk about what they were actually talking about, and keep in mind that the races are reversed in our reality.
Well, what he was actually talking about was like, hey, look, nigga, I gave you a bunch of chances to squash this, and you threw him out the fucking window because you're an idiot.
Do you feel sorry for Louis if he's black?
No, because that nigga dumb.
Right.
Like you said earlier.
Right. Yeah.
Like he's an idiot at this point. Well,
Yeah,
he was an idiot way before. But
That's why,
like,
that's why I wouldn't give him the promotion. Duh.
Well, this was way before.
Well, I mean, you didn't know he was
that fucking
Look, Ron sensed that he was like, no, this guy's not right. Like, no, this guy's gonna make a poor choice. Turns out you were 100% correct. I mean, but that's the thing is, what the movie is trying to do, what it fails to do, I think, is it's trying to show that you can go from being this sort of mild-mannered guy and bad things continue to happen to you. Some of it your fault, some of it not your fault, and then it spirals out of control. However, there are clear blocks in time where it's like, yeah, I could stop.
I could fix this.
I could fix this right now. Nah.
I don't feel like
We'll see if there's another stoplight. I can fix this again. Nah. We'll see if there's one more stoplight before I get to the cliff. Oh shit! There were no more stoplights. Well, there were two right there, 2 or 3, but if the movie had said, look, this guy tried to do things and they were out of his control because of the system that was created.
Right.
He wasn't trying shit.
And if it was like, okay, if you're black and you were born poor and you had a job and they decided that they were going to lay you off because you didn't do great in an interview because you weren't as articulate as somebody who went to a higher college or a nicer college or something like that, and so you get fired, and so then you lose your house, so then you lose your wife and your kids because they divorce you, and it just spirals and spirals and spirals, and then you decide to sell drugs, and then you get arrested. Well, the last part is your fault, right? You did do that, but all of the things that cause a spiral because of the way the system is set up, which is what happens to black people now, that's the problem. Right. The arc is the problem. The last part where you go, oh, you stand outside to sell drugs, you're like, well, look, you didn't have to sell drugs, but I get it. You felt that you needed to because you couldn't get out of the situation. But they don't do that. They give Louis complete outs.
They give him multiple opportunities.
But the thing is, even in this universe, the white guy is given several
given opportunity. God damn.
And then, so that's where it misses the point is black people who end up selling drugs or something like that, it's because they don't have any of the opportunities. If you're given an opportunity to get the fuck out of your own way and you go, no, I'm gonna sell drugs instead.
No, I don't believe you, yo. Motherfucker.
Look, but it also, but what it also implies is that black people who make mistakes when they're given the opportunity, that I shouldn't, that as a black person, I shouldn't be pissed off that they didn't take the opportunity. Like, I am pissed off at that. Like, if somebody says, here, come to this school that's paid for and you can, pull yourself up, through education, stuff like that. If you go, oh, I can go for free and stuff like that, and then you choose to say, fuck that, I'm not going to, I don't feel bad. You had an opportunity. Now, if it's other circumstances, that's different. But that's the problem with Louis's character is he is given these chances and he purposefully doesn't take them.
But the script in this particular scene really when he's talking about all the stuff he did, and he throws back, oh, you did this, this, and this. That's illegal. What do you think? Oh, that was different. Oh, it's always different with you. That pisses me off because it's always different with you could be used in a way that actually makes sense when it comes to the way media looks at the different races and why black people don't get overly punished for one thing and white people get away with another thing. Like, it's always different with you could be used to make a salient point. Instead, it's this pile of bullshit where this guy was running for his life and trying to save his own life.
Right.
Oh, it's always different with you. No, shut up.
Like, it's always different with you individually. Like, it didn't convey the message that it's always different with you as a race.
Yeah, I think that's what they were going for.
That's what they were going for, and
terrible.
it fucking failed. Miserable.
Yeah, the actual context of the situation is no.
It's no, it's always different with you, Harry Belafonte, or Thaddeus, whatever the fuck your last name is. I'm like, no, that's not what the point of this movie is supposed to be.
Yeah, like at this point, they just made a rich guy versus poor guy movie.
Yep.
Yeah,
they didn't make a reversal.
And at this
of
point, you feel for the rich guy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, he's supposed to be the guy who you go, yeah, fuck that guy. And I'm kind of like, when are they going to shoot John Travolta? Because this is taking a long time.
This movie, it goes beyond racial boundaries in that it just it pushes those stereotypes and just says fuck it, all the way over.
Yeah, but when you make it about rich versus poor, you aren't saying anything.
Nope.
Everyone knows that rich people have more benefits than poor people. Right. And it's literally because they have more wealth. That's it. Black versus white. You can be wealthy and black and still get treated like shit. Right. And a poor white person can still get treated better. That's the point. Those things, you being rich or poor doesn't matter. And that's the point. How did they miss this and get the white lawn jockey right? Come on. How did they remember that and go, we nailed it? I don't understand.
Oh, all right. God. The cops arrive.
Please, let's get to John
We're
Travolta's
almost
death.
done.
Let's move it along.
The cops arrive and they're looking for Louis. Stanley tries to convince Louis to let Thaddeus go and leave. Thaddeus starts having a heart attack, and Stanley guides Louis into delivering CPR. Thaddeus is then revived. They all drive to the hospital, but Lewis's truck stalls.
Because he's poor, by the way.
So Louis starts shooting randomly in hopes that someone will call the cops to report the disturbance. Stanley's like, yo, fuck this, I'm out.
Smartest move he ever made.
And he tells Louis to come with him, but Louis stays because he wants to try and explain that Thaddeus needs to go to the hospital when the cops arrive.
Because they couldn't figure that out.
Right.
This nigga was laying on the ground convulsing, he's fine.
Cops show up and they demand that Louis raises his hands. Louis raises his hands, but the dummy still has his fucking gun in his hand. So he raises his hands as if he's some fucking martyr, and the cops shoot him. And they kill him. And
yay.
Yeah, you know what? Yay.
This guy's rampage is over.
Right. But the thing is, why would, if you're there, again, Louis is an idiot. If you're there to get hey, this guy's having a heart attack, somebody help him, I found him on the side of the road, whatever bullshit lie you can say. Why wouldn't you throw the gun away so that they don't think that you kidnapped him?
I don't like the fact that this movie made him out to be a martyr.
I agree.
Because at the end of the day, he is the one that causes. He is the one he's the one who's responsible for his own demise. He's the one who's responsible for putting Thaddeus in the position to have a heart attack, and you don't get kudos for cleaning up your own mess. You don't.
Yeah,
man.
you don't.
Yeah.
Hey, mom and dad, I cleaned my room. You're supposed to clean your room. Get out of my face.
He didn't clean up his own mess.
Yeah, actually, you didn't. He tried.
He attempted to.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Someone's gonna have to clean up his mess.
Right.
His dead body.
Exactly. The attempt was half-assed because the dude is having a heart attack. It's like, oh shit, now I feel bad. Now I gotta try to get him to a hospital. Oh, I got a shitty truck, so I'm gonna bust these shots in the air. And what was I gonna do? He was going to explain to them that he was having a heart attack or whatever, which they clearly could have seen, they clearly saw already, what would the end game be? I saved his life that you put in danger in the first place.
Right.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
And then
Fucking dumb. So
Flawless
gonna
victory,
happen to
guys.
him?
I got it.
Throw the gun into the field?
The field of houses?
He would.
I don't know.
He should have just. I would have been like, oh, here come the cops.
should have fucking left with Stanley.
Yeah, that's
I'd have
what I would
left.
have did. I'd have fucking dipped, but it's his truck. Like, so did this
Oh,
black
yeah,
dude
that's
steal
true,
your
that's true.
truck?
He should have. He
I'm
should
like,
have.
yeah, black man stole my truck. If he's from an
Should
alternate
have laid on the
universe.
ground with his hands on the back of his head.
He should have done what the maid told him to do at the beginning of the fucking movie and go around back to deliver the package. God damn it, man. Follow directions, man.
Instead,
Jesus Christ.
Instead, now he's dead, and his poor family has to deal with burying him in a cardboard box.
Yeah.
So later, Thaddeus finds Lewis's wife, and she knows what happens via Stanley. And Thaddeus says, "Look, all the stuff that happened, he owes. I owe him some money. Maybe this will help you out." And then the wife is like, "You think that's gonna help? Fuck you! I don't want your money, bitch. I'm done. I can't do it. I can't do it, man.
She didn't even have that accent.
This movie's over. Thank God. Let's get the hell out of here."
No, my question is, are you planning on buying a new iPad?
Movie pissed me off, man.
But
Like that was the cherry on
I'm
top.
really curious. I want you to pick it up.
I kind of hope it's
like,
broken.
I don't want
I kind of hope it is.
That was the cherry.
Oh, damn it, it's still broken.
Okay.
That was the cherry on top of the shit
So,
Sunday, man.
so she said, hold on. She says that how much money would be enough? Like, is there enough money? But
Like 3,000?
like 3,700.
3,000 minus $20 for Super Black Man.
$29.80.
But actually, the most important part of that scene, right? And I'd have been like, yeah, it's actually 2,880, 980. Like I thought it was 3,000. Well, your son's like Super Black Man, so sorry. But my thing is that scene. She's supposed to like the way John Travolta's character dies. She acts like he did something heroic, and then he got screwed over by Thaddeus. No. But he didn't.
But that's how I think that the audience that this movie is for, that's how they will see it.
And that's a problem. But I think the larger issue with the end of this movie is, and look, this is the Lee Daniels moment, right? It's as Thaddeus is walking to his car to leave, because he's like, well, let me put this money back in the bank. Fuck you. And so he goes to walk back to his car. John Travolta's son walks out and he sees him. And he kind of is like, just kind of like looking at him like, my dad's dead and Super Black Man doll is still pretty cool. But it's supposed to represent, at least in my mind, it's supposed to represent how the cycle of racism continues. Because
I hate Super Black Man now.
yeah, and I
I'm
hate
a
all
crazy
black
white
people.
guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a crazy white guy when I grow up. Like
With a knife.
So, yeah, like just calm down, kid. So like it was supposed to be that, but again, your dad is the one who's super fucked up. It wasn't Thaddeus, because even if you could have changed the whole thing if Thaddeus had said to Louis in the beginning, or not Louis, the Sugar Ray Leonard guy, if he would have said, "Hey, fire that guy."
Right.
But he didn't.
But he didn't.
He didn't. And again, you had the come to Jesus meeting where you could have gotten out of it, but you didn't.
This whole movie would have been so much better if at the very end they zoom up on the son and he's holding crazy white guy.
Yeah, it just been like, dan, 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 dan. And then it would have faded to white, because fading to white would have made more sense.
So it's
because
not even,
that's the universe.
It's not
in
even
which
fading to white. It's brighting to white.
Yeah, it's brighting to white. Because that's how it should have been.
The end on like a black screen and a white screen and black letters.
Yes, exactly. Like a French film.
Fucking garbage.
It's absolute garbage.
So wait,
I promise
is it-
that the next movie will be good.
Instead of a black power fist, it's like a white power palm.
Yeah, it's just a hand out. It's a hand shaking. Like, hey, everybody, you get the job. Like, oh, thanks. All right, so that is it for episode 87.
So would the,
white man's burden.
Would the Rainbow Coalition be like the monochrome coalition?
Oh, damn. It's just a rainbow of like 5 white lines going across to a black background and 2 white hands, and it's boring. But there's no yellow one because no one cares about Asian people.
God damn, it's time to go.
So that's it for us for episode 87, White Man's Burden. It has certainly been for Black Man's Burden to bring that to you. So we will see you guys next week for another preview episode. If you like what you hear, please subscribe on YouTube and iTunes again for our preview episodes that we do not post on YouTube. All right, guys. Later.
See ya.
You have no idea the amount of ignorant mess we're about to get into right now.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.